Hello, and welcome to another episode of Comprehending Consciousness. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks, and I have created this series as a hopes to bridge the gap between people who are newly waking up and those who have been awake for a while. Those of us in the spiritual community or the New Age community, 5D, off-grid, the fringe, whatever you want to call it. There has been a lot of progress and a lot of new workings and ideas and things that are really coming to fruition sort of on the peripheral of the mainstream matrix. And we see it even trickling down into that world now, right? And so more and more people are starting to hear unfamiliar terms, are starting to be introduced to new ideas, different things, right? A lot of chaos. And so it's very important that we stay grounded and we start to slow down and learn discernment. And so I've created this series as sort of a means to help people to do that. Tackle one term or phrase at a time and just give a brief tour of it. And under the understanding, with the understanding, I don't know, that you don't stand under me when I say that. I know so many people are thinking, understand, to stand under me. I am hoping to combat that completely and offer common ground for all of us to stand on, right? To view and assess information from that same common ground, which is a difficult concept to get, right? But I think we'll get there at some point. But that's where I operate my life from. And so that's where I'm offering these sort of guides from, and that's where my teaching comes from, I guess. My speaking and my sharing is a service, and I offer it as such. So this video is number 25. If you haven't seen any of my other episodes in this series, check them out. They're pretty cool. They're not really sequential. I mean, they do have a flow, and I did kind of design them in that way, but you're free to watch any one of the 25 that are out so far. Across a whole range of phrases and topics, you know. This is 25, which is going to be astral projection versus or also remote viewing. If you didn't see my previous 24, that was the Akashic Records, which is along a similar line of thought and ideas and workings. And so if this kind of information like astral projection sparks your interest, then take a look at that. I'll put the link in the description or in a comment or something below, so it's easy to find. So yeah, let's jump right into astral projection and remote viewing. As always, this is my opinion. This is my quick tour of the iceberg, just the tip, right, of what I see and have collected. It's by no means the end of the story, and really my desire and my offering here is for you to put your diving gear on at a time that's suitable for you and go do your own deep dives on this topic. Do your own seeking, look at other sources and references, and if you are new to my channel into the series, a lot of times I put references to things that I'm talking about, you know, or offer other people's words too, so that you can go and do your own investigating and find what resonates with you on the topic, right? So with that in mind, there's a lot of talk and hype, and even in the mainstream, like with astral projection, hypnosis, and remote viewing tends to be a little bit more on the fringe. Now, these types of things have to do with different states of being, different brainwave states, different bodies that we inhabit, and how they move, and what kind of layerings of the universe, of the structuring that they're allowed to or move within. So if you are brand new to this kind of way of thinking, about the universe, for points of reference quickly, for my own, perspective, of course, that the universe is made up of the ether, and it is much more than a human can comprehend or hope to really nail down and understand. And so I'm not trying to give a quick understanding of the universe here, but my points of reference here are that it's helpful if you could try to imagine or find for yourself an understanding of buoyancy and layering, density. Loosen your reins on what it means for gravity and all of these really sort of like scientific ways that they try to explain away all this stuff. Let's not even worry about those kind of things, and like take a general view of the ether and of the universe, and see it almost as some kind of multi-dimensional, multi-filtered soup of sorts that is always in communion with all other layers in unique ways, and there is some kind of buoyancy or density, pressuring structures that are sequential and that build upon each other in a specific way, and which hold different levels of conscious awareness within them. And our bodies are built in this way too, and in this fashion. We have, very simply and quickly, I'll just do the three, mind, body, and spirit. You have like your emotional mind and your brain, the electric impulses and all of that. Then we have, your physical vessel, the body, the infinite intelligence of the physical vessel, right? And you have your spiritual body and your spirit, and that spiritual intelligence that's connected to that. So very quickly, to bring this in my explanation and alignment with what I'm talking about here, right? Astral projection can easily be interpreted or seen, as that spiritual body moving in a different layering, the one that it's fit for and built for. Whether you want to see that as 5D, 6D, 7D, if you have spirit realm and world, whatever, it can be loosely and sometimes intermingled with ethereal and your etheric bodies and things. And I'm sure, there's workings and definitions, nuances between those. But for beginners and for new people, this in general can be kind of overwhelming. So to keep it simple, astral projection has to do with that, your spiritual body, and that connection and getting into that frame of relaxation, I guess, or connection or communion with the spiritual body. Generally, astral projection is like almost like looks like sleeping, or deep hypnosis, or like even a guided meditation, sort of. Versus now remote viewing, in my opinion, and from the information that I've seen, and just my conjectures here, has to do more with the mental body and using your mind and using that connection to that filter and layering that our mind's eye and our mind's working, filters through more easily. Now, that has remote viewing has an overall kind of 3D vibe to it, whereas astral projection has more of like a 5D, ascension vibe to it. Remote viewing is more tied down to 3D, and it's even, an entanglement of the matrix and a tool, because it can be, anybody can get taught how to do it, or can mostly tap into learning how to do it. And I say anybody loosely because you have to have the desire and the intention to do it. But if you have the desire and intention, and you put forth the work and practice, then you can. I mean, it's not instantaneous, so it's not like anybody can do it in that sense, you know. But it's, if you haven't heard of it and this is totally new to you, you know, go check out search engines on it, because, you know, even the U.S. military has been doing it forever. Russia as well, documented and released, and it's not even, you know, redacted or anything. So it's plain not common knowledge that it can be done. And what is it basically, right? Using your mind's eye to locate targets, using your connection to that mind's eye to get into the conscious collective, and see through the conscious collective as to what's happening, or where something is, or gain information on something. It's a really cool skill to try to learn and to practice with, and both astral projection and remote viewing are really cool. But like I'll say here, and I like to try to keep these videos short, and I've already gone for about 10 minutes. So just quickly to kind of debunk some of the stuff and to just clear the ground, and give some guidance points. Discernment and personal responsibility, like sovereignty, that idea is everything. And if you could always operate your world from the space of sovereign worth and make the best decisions that you can, and involve your mind, body, and spirit in things consciously and that you actually consent to, go into everything, every choice and interaction with a sense of conscious awareness, and you'll always find a more positive way through, and more success, and more comfortability. And you're so much less likely to have infringements or negative entanglements trying to really get at you, because this is really big in the mainstream, and it's kind of fed to everybody. Like I like to say it about a lot of things, you know, the matrix overlay kind of tells us or shows us, like, oh yeah, this is great, everybody can do it, go try, and makes it look so easy, but it's actually skilled practice that you have to, you know, have some knowledge of before you get into. And so when we are exposing any of our bodies or minds or our imagination space to the conscious collective or to the unknown, it's so important to know yourself, to know your sovereign worth, and have that moral compass very, hold it strong, no, and watch it, you know, trust that over everything else always, because you know, this is a dualistic universe, and there is a manyness on both sides of the spectrum. And when we are reaching our hands out or taking a trip out, you know, we are still self-responsible, and we have to be aware of what we are allowing and asking for and seeking, because you're going to get what you're seeking. And so to go into all of these practices with a mindfulness, with some spiritual protection, energetic protection, whatever that means to you, if you're unfamiliar with that, I highly suggest learning about protecting yourself. There's so many different ways, and to make your own is really the best, but you have to have that connection to sovereign worth. So if that's new to you too, I might link some podcasts that I've done on sovereign worth, just in case people don't really know what that means. But if you could go into any of these practices from that space of protection, that's the best thing to always do. And then, yeah, they're really cool, and you can have a lot of fun. People have great experiences with astral projection. Some people have amazing experiences. And some people use astral projection practice like into lucid dreaming, or like I said, into like your etheric body, and workings with like angelic realm, the spirit realm, guides. They, interplanetary kind of things, or other realms or worlds, parallel universes. Who knows what it is, right? But that kind of avenue all has to do with the side of astral projection, right? And a lot can be gained from it. Caution, safety, discernment, right? Know yourself before to know what you're seeking here. And then with remote viewing can be really fun too, but also be protected. And it's most the best way to do it is with another. You have to usually, at least to get started and understand the workings of it, you really should have another person with you as the questioner. If you want to learn how to remote view, have a blind questioner who has something in an envelope who could question you about it, so you can test your seeing before you try to take it into an external world. And that can be really fun. And I wrote a little bit about that on my website, about making games out of learning how to remote view, because it can be a lot of fun and children are really great at it. Put a picture in an envelope, and try to guess what it is. Of course, it's more detailed than that, and there's other workings in there and stuff, but that is the gist of it, is learning to see with your mind's eye and having a specific target. Or blindfolded reading, is another great one that kids pick up on really well. So that kind of stuff, like the 3D, more of seeing with your mind's eye kind of things intrigue you, check out more on that. And like I said, the term would be remote viewing for that kind of realm of working. People use it for amazing things, to find lost items, to find lost people, and all types of other things. It does, and I'll give a word of caution. You can become very infringing, gain a lot of negative orientation, polarity, doing seeking with remote viewing, because be very cautious of what you're infringing on. There's sacred boundaries of privacy, or are you upholding them or not? So it takes a lot of working with your internal compass to try to figure out what exactly in life you're seeking, and how you'd like to be treated, and whether you align with that or not, and whether you are, more of a service to self, kind of, I'm seeking for myself, I don't care, kind of, it's a free will universe. But be mindful, because you're collecting a charge while you're doing that kind of seeking. And if it's negatively aligned, then you should expect to see more negative things popping up in your world later. So that's my note of caution, before we do these things, get practiced in personal protection, energetic protection, know your spiritual place, hear your moral compass, your heart center. Meditation's beautiful for that. Understand alignments and polarity, and what it really means to be seeking positively or negatively, and what that means for cycling back to you, and getting the world mirrored back to you. So yeah, that's my word of caution at the end, and I went a little over time. So thank you so much for joining me for episode number 25. I hope it was insightful. Like I said, there'll be some links in the descriptions or comments on things that I talked about if it interests you, and if not, I hope you'll tune back next time. I'm going to be doing episode 26, I believe, on NPCs, so I hope you'll tune in for that next time.